Yo, what is up everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News, back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be changing up the format just a little bit. I'm going to try to bring you guys a couple of videos this weekend, maybe, so I'm going to try to keep this one a little bit shorter. So of course this weekend we have the LA Home Series, which is being co-hosted by the LA Guerrillas and Optic Gaming LA. Of course, in our first matchup of the day, we'll see Atlanta FaZe taking on the Florida Mutineers in a rematch of the finals from the CDL Atlanta homestand. So one thing to note in this series is that Persini decided to take some time off yesterday, I believe. He announced it on Twitter. So Pharaoh will be taking his spot this weekend. It'll be interesting to see how Pharaoh performs. He's been frying in the AM circuit, so let's hope that he performs well and gets a contract after this weekend. Of course, I expect this matchup to go in FaZe Clan's favor. I expect them to get either a 3-0 or a 3-1, but I do think the Mutineers will put up a good fight. Of course, they obviously made it to the finals of the last event, but with Persini being put on the bench and Pharaoh having to kind of learn the ropes and figure out the team chemistry as he goes, I think it'll be a challenge for them. Of course, in our next matchup, we'll have the Minnesota Rocker taking on the Seattle Surge. I'm really interested to see how Seattle perform this weekend. Obviously, they substituted Enable for Pander, so it'll be interesting to see if Pander and Octane's chemistry outside of the game translates to a better performance for the team overall. With that being said, I do expect Minnesota to win. Of course, Minnesota's been in really great form. As a team, they've really gelled and come together, and they just have been performing really well all year long, so I don't see that stopping anytime soon. Of course, in our next matchup, we'll see the New York Subliners taking on the Dallas Empire. I'm really interested to see how New York perform in this matchup because they also made a substitution recently. Of course, they put Zero on the bench and moved Happy to the starting role, so I'm interested in seeing if Happy's performance really helps to elevate New York to the next level and kind of launches them into the top, I would say 8, maybe even 6 teams this weekend. The Dallas Empire are my team to watch this weekend. I think they're really going to be playing with a chip on their shoulder. I think they're trying to reassert their dominance and really reinsert themselves into the top 3 team conversation. So with that being said, I do think that Dallas has a very strong chance of really surprising a lot of people and taking this tournament. Of course, Dallas was a heavy favorite in the beginning of the season, but they've sort of fallen off the radar a little bit in recent weeks with their performances, and I think that this weekend will really be a coming out party for them. I think they'll really get things back on track. Of course, in our marquee matchup of the day, we will see our co-hosts going head-to-head. Of course, the LA Guerrillas will be taking on Optic Gaming LA. In terms of this matchup, I'm really not sure what to expect. Of course, Optic has been looking really good online lately, but we all know that online doesn't necessarily transfer to LAN. Yeah, sorry Dallas. Moving on, it is worth noting that the LA Guerrillas did make a roster change recently. They of course swapped out Lacefield, Saints, and Aches for Vivid, Spart, and Blast. Of course, Vivid and Spart they picked up from the AM scene. Vivid and Spart have been making a lot of noise this year, so I'm really excited to see how they perform on a Pro League team. Gonna throw out a wild guess here and say that the LA Guerrillas get a 3-1 victory over Optic. I'm probably going to be wrong. The scoreline's probably going to look a lot different, and Optic might even win, but that's just my guess right now. Moving on to that money. So if you guys are wondering who I'm going to be betting on this weekend, I'm going to put money behind Atlanta FaZe, Dallas Empire, of course the Minnesota Rocker, and this might surprise some of you guys, but I'm going to put some money behind the LA Guerrillas. I will also be putting a little bit of money on the Subliners, as well as the Surge and Optic Gaming LA. I don't think that these teams will win their matchups, but there is a chance. I think that the Seattle Surge will obviously be playing with a chip on their shoulder. They're really trying to turn their season around. Same goes for the Guerrillas, and obviously the same can be said for Optic. Sitting on a donut.
Funny, because some players who are picked up 0 CDL points.
Like who's name? Name him out. Name him out.
I don't want to do it, but I will. Austin has 0 CDL points.
I also have 10 times your earnings.
Oh! In terms of upsets, I'm leaning most heavily towards the Seattle Surge and Optic Gaming LA. Of course, Optic Gaming LA is playing the LA Guerrillas. They have a new roster. But in the case of the Seattle Surge, I think this substitution may be exactly what they needed. Yeah, so that'll just about do it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be bringing you guys updates on social media, so be sure to check my Twitter, Instagram, and stay tuned here on YouTube, of course. I'm going to be bringing you guys updates on the Gears of War tournament that's happening in Mexico City, as well as the LA Home Series. So be sure to stay tuned, and I will catch you guys on the next video. Once again, this has been Chris from Fake Sports News, signing off. Peace.